Karen caught her precisely below, under the soft glow of the moonlit sky. Our story begins, but inside, things are anything but peaceful. A man leans over our unsuspecting heroine, his voice a low whisper. Our girl's eyes flutter open, her head swimming in a dizzy haze. She feels heavy, confused, and then she sees his face, and served her on a silver platter to another prince. Zhao Fan? Before she can even process what's happening, he's whispering sweet, terrifying nothings in her ear. She shoves against him, her voice trembling with rage. Release me. Her hand fumbles, grabbing the nearest object. A small vase. She knows this is her only chance. She smashes the vase right over his head, sending him tumbling to the floor. Unconscious, shards of porcelain and droplets of blood litter the ground. Her heart hammers in her chest. She has to run. A business mastermind who sacrificed everything. Fixing her disheveled clothes, she bolts for the door, only to be stopped by 2 guards. They block her path, their faces grim. That glass of aphrodisiac you drank, one says, was meant for my master. The guard continues, explaining it was a gift from official Meng, who is soon to be married to the princess. The name hits her like a physical blow. Meng Chengyu? Impossible. He wouldn't do this to her. The world fades as she's thrown into a heart-wrenching memory. She sees him, the man she loved with all her heart, that the memory turns sour. He tells her to go with Prince Ming, that he'll treat her fairly. The look in his eyes is cold, distant. She can barely form the words. What? Just then, another man arrives with his entourage, a cruel smirk on his face. You've lost your virginity. You can't be married, he declares. But my master is willing to take you. It is a blessing. He announces that her beloved Meng will soon be his son-in-law. And then Prince Ming grabs her, his touch like ice. And he, the prince sneers, gave you to me. He throws her down, promising her a life of wealth and glory as she fights against him. Her screams are lost in the night. Her mind flashes back, trying to understand how it all came to this. Crush the man who betrayed her. At 15, a lesher had broken her innocence. Her own grandmother had sold her to a sickly man. But Meng Chengyu had saved her, fleeing with her into the night. She had sworn to live and die with him. For him, she became a peasant, then clawed her way up, becoming the richest woman in all of Yan just to support his dreams. She even used her money to buy his government position. After all those years, this was her reward. The thought is so absurd she starts to laugh, a broken, chilling sound. Her life has been a sad, ridiculous joke. It's the most powerful, feared and deadliest regent in the entire empire. I am a businesswoman, she thinks, a final cold resolve settling in. Even if I die, I cannot suffer a loss. As she takes her last breath, a vision appears, a man on a horse, a conquering hero named Shi Heng. Her final thought is a desperate wish. If only, I can start anew from 15 years old. Or suddenly, lightning cracks across the sky. Pain rips through her body. She's in a bed, a shadowy figure, looming over her. It's happening all over again. She's alive, but trapped in the same nightmare. Why aren't I dead? She screams internally, her hand finding a familiar hairpin. Get off, or else I'll kill you. She remembers this scene, a horror she could never forget. But this time is different. With a guttural cry, she snaps, "Get out." She won't be a victim again. She plunges the hairpin into his flesh, but he doesn't even react. A realization dawns on her. He's been drugged. Are you drugged? She asks. I can help you. He stops. He's actually listening. Slowly, the man gets off the bed. For a second, she's stunned that the lesher actually listened, but she's not letting him get away that easily. Go to hell, she screams, grabbing a heavy wooden stool. She swings with all her might, but he dodges just in time. Don't try to escape, she warns. He just looks at her, whispers, stop, and leaps out of the window, disappearing into the night. Silence falls, broken only by the distant rumble of thunder, and then a shrill voice cuts through the quiet. What a waste of money. She knows that voice. Her grandmother. She recognizes this room, this house. The impossible truth crashes down on her. I was reborn? Just then the door creaks open and her mother enters, holding a candle. Tears stream down our girl's face as she throws herself into her mother's arms, sobbing, "Mother," but the reunion is cut short by a sharp voice from the doorway. It's her cousin, Li Yun, looking absolutely furious. Li Yun's eyes widen as she spots the blood on Wen Jiu's hand. Wen Jiu freezes. This is it. This is the exact moment from her past life that sealed her fate. The moment Li Yun found her with the man and her reputation was destroyed forever. Li Yun's gaze shifts to the bed, spotting more blood on the quilt. A wicked, knowing smile spreads across her face. Wen Jiu, she begins, her voice dripping with fake concern. What happened in your room? But our girl isn't the same weak child anymore. Thinking fast, she clutches her stomach and lets out a pained wail. Mother, save me. My stomach hurts. I'm dying. Her mother, bless her heart, is immediately flustered. Silly girl, she coos. This is how you grow up. She promises to boil some brown sugar water to ease the pain, completely buying the act. Her mother tells the prying cousin to go back to bed. Wen Jiu glares at Li Yun, her voice dripping with ice. Get out. Li Yun is stunned into silence, then runs off in a huff. Wen Jiu knows she's only bought herself a little time. This night everything began, and this time she will change it all. The next morning, she wakes up to her grandmother complaining about her being lazy. Her cousin is already whining to grandma about being bullied. Wen Jiu ignores them, but her grandmother stops her. Wait. Your grandfather has something to say. The old woman summons her to the main room. Wen Jiu agrees, but her mind is elsewhere. She has to check the scene of last night's crime for any clues the intruder might have left behind. And there it is. Lying in the dirt is a beautiful jade accessory. Her eyes widen. She knows this pattern. Within a 50-kilometer radius, only one family could afford this. The Shi family. At the family meeting, her grandfather gets straight to the point. And Jiu is 15 years old. She's old enough to be married. He announces they have arranged her marriage to the young master of the Shi family. Her parents are horrified. But our girl sees the gears of fate turning. With a small cunning smile, she speaks up. This is such a good marriage, she says sweetly. Why don't you let Liyun go instead? Her aunt nearly chokes on her tea. Her mother tries to argue that she's still too young. But her grandmother is a monster. What marriageable age, she scoffs. We are poor people, so why should we pay attention to that? Wen Jiu knows it's a lie. The Shi family has a strict rule about not marrying under 20. Fine. She'll play their game. Then I'll have to ask, which son of the Shi family? She asks coolly. They tell her she has to go see for herself, urging her to get ready. So hurriedly, before her, she can even ask another question. The sound of music and firecrackers fills the air. A wedding procession is already at their door, here to receive the bride. And there, sitting majestically on a horse, is the groom. Her breath catches in her throat. It's him, the regent from her past life. The man from her dying vision. Shi Heng. Our girl stands in the garden, lost in thought, when a shadow falls over her. She looks up and freezes. It's him. Shi Heng. She remembers him all too well. He is, she thinks, a storm of memories crashing down. In her previous life, their first meeting was at the imperial capital. He was already the legendary god of war, so powerful no one dared look at him directly. But when he entered the city, he didn't go rest. Oh no, he led his troops straight to the Ministry of Revenue and terrified the minister who'd been late paying his soldiers. He then called on a junior official to handle the accounts, and then he'd turn to her. His first words were, "Are you the Wen Jiu?" She remembers how he looked down at her, and his next word was a dagger to her heart. Idiot. And just like that, in her past life, Shi Heng hated her from the very beginning. Meanwhile, the local girls are swooning from a distance. They can't believe how lucky Aju is, getting to marry such a handsome man from the prestigious Shi family. But our girl knows better. As he approaches her, she can't help but feel a tremor of fear. She nervously bites her finger, the past and present blurring together in a heart-wrenching mix. He stops before her, his voice smooth and steady. I, Xi Heng, entrusted by my aunt, came to receive the bride on behalf of my fifth brother, Shi Qi. Wait, his brother? He's not the groom? Finally, her greedy grandmother rushes onto the scene. Our Aju already knows, she cackles. She practically shoves Aji towards him, declaring there's no way she'd refuse such a good marriage. Let the bride get on the sedan. The aunt grabs our poor heroine's arm, trying to force her along. Exactly. We can't delay the auspicious hour, she snaps. Aju panics, crying out, you all, let go. Just as they're about to drag her away, a calm voice cuts through the chaos. Wait, it's Shi Heng. He explains his fifth brother has been sickly since he was a child. Before I left, he repeatedly told me to ask the lady something. He says, his eyes fixed on Aju. Does this young lady voluntarily want to marry and become his wife? The family's smiles freeze on their faces. The crowd immediately starts whispering. The fifth young master. I heard he's never gone outside and his health is in poor condition. The mood shifts instantly. Isn't the Wen family just selling off their granddaughter? One woman scoffs. The grandmother furiously yells at them to scram. But the damage is done. If she marries him, there's no telling what day she'll become a widow. A woman adds. Aju's own aunt chimes in. Aju will not marry. I object. Amidst the chaos, as her family pulls her back and forth, Shi Heng's voice cuts through it all. Wen Jiu, he says, his gaze sharp. What do you say? Aju turns to her worried mother. Don't you worry, mother, she says softly. It's okay. She remembers her past life, when her reputation was in shambles. Yet Shi Heng still came for her. She thinks to herself that if the Shis reject her today, her life will be over. But she can't stay in this toxic household either. Taking a deep breath, she steps forward and addresses him directly. Young Master Shi, I still have yet to reach the marriageable age. I cannot get married. Shi Heng raises an eyebrow. Oh, not yet? Renee says. When the Wen family informed us of your birthday, that's not what they said. Our girl flinches, her heart pounding. She remembers the terrifying general from her past life, a man who could silence the entire imperial court with a single word. And the man in front of her is just as intimidating. What they said is nonsense, she blurts out, looking terrified. Her aunt, trying to save face, quickly backs her up. It's true. Her birthday is on the 9th day of September. It's still July. Aju quickly adds that her name, Jiu, is a homonym for the number 9 in Chinese, which is why her birthday is so well known. Shi Heng lets out a tiny dangerous smirk. Someone, he calls. His voice drops, turning icy. Go and tell County Magistrate Wang that Jiang Shi cheated the marriage. Let him take her to prison. The entire courtyard explodes in shock. What? The grandmother and aunt look absolutely horrified. The old woman stumbles forward, pleading. No, you can't do this, Chiltzi. She grabs Aju, whispering frantically. Aju, silver, the silver. Her eyes dart around in panic. How can I swallow the betrothal gift then spit it out again? Aju's blood runs cold. Of course, they already took the money, but a fire lights in her eyes. I will never be a fish on the chopping block again, she vows to herself. Childixi, wait, she calls out desperately. He's already on his horse, ready to ride off into the sunset and leave her family to rot. He turns back looking bored. What is it? She asks. I want to ask for the cheated money used in this marriage. How long is the stay in prison? A flicker of amusement crosses his face. This girl is quite amusing, he thinks. He holds up a finger. 100 taels, he says casually. Not very long. Then he drops the bomb with a wicked glint in his eyes. Just until till death. The crowd gasps in horror. The grandmother and aunt look like they're about to have a heart attack. The aunt completely loses it, screaming, "You Shi family can't bully others like this." Si Heng's expression turns utterly savage. "Only you? Have you also considered others?" His cold gaze lands on the trembling women. About today's matter, Wen Jiu will give the Shi family an explanation. Our girl steps forward. "Young Master Shi, please wait a bit. Allow me to call for the village chief and everyone else." She walks straight to the ancestral hall. Inside, the elders are already seated. "Aju, isn't today your joyous day?" the chief asks. Without a word, our girl falls to her knees, crying out, "I ask the village chief to make a decision for Aju." She tearfully explains, "My aunt had arranged a marriage for me, but my father and mother did not know of this." The aunt immediately snaps back. "How outrageous. This marriage came so suddenly. Aju dares not marry." She tries to play the victim. "How could you just say that? Her aunt found her a good marriage. She just doesn't know how to appreciate others' kindness." Another elder raises a valid point. "Causing trouble. Both her parents are still alive. How did it turn into the aunt making the decision?" The grandmother slams her hand down. "I agreed. I'm Wen Jiu's grandmother. I have the final say," she shrieks. Aju looks up, her eyes filled with tears but her voice steady. "But, we can't cheat the marriage. We cannot take this betrothal gift." "Cheat?" the village chief echoes, his interest piqued. "Originally, they wanted to take a girl with a suitable birth date," Aju explains. "But I still haven't met the marriageable age. I cannot get married according to the law. Is this not a fraud?" The elders gasp in absolute shock. She continues, "My family's people had only calculated their profit and made a mistake. This money will definitely be returned to you." She warns them all, the Shi family is influential and well known. It's better to offend the government than to offend the Shi manor. From the doorway, Shi Heng watches, a slow smile spreading across his face. He thinks, this eldest young lady of the Wen family, this old lady Wen's family, is quite something. He steps inside and addresses the village chief. "What do you want to do?" The chief starts sweating buckets. "Ahem." He points a trembling finger at the grandmother. "Hurry up and apologize to eldest young Master C. Our village cannot afford this shame." He orders them to return the gift immediately. The aunt stammers. Her daughter." The cousin pulls her aside and whispers frantically, "Mother, you didn't know. I've long taken this money to pay back Ayun's father's debts. I can't give it back." The aunt stares in horror, as her daughter looks on with a devious expression. Suddenly, the cousin makes a run for it, calling out, "Childed C! Childed C!" She throws herself at his feet, begging for mercy. Aju wisely retreats. Shi Heng sneers down at her. "Daughter repaying a father's debt? Could it be that you're going to marry my fifth brother instead of Wen Jiu?" The cousin scoffs. "I will not marry that invalid. Marrying him is the same as becoming a widow." Shi Heng's face darkens instantly. "No," the cousin stammers, realizing her mistake. "But it's too late. You're too ugly," he says, his voice dripping with contempt. "My fifth brother would be extremely wronged." Aju clears her throat, taking center stage again. "I also asked Childetsi to listen to me." She makes a bold declaration. "My family is willing to give all of our possessions to compensate the Shi family." Her grandmother shrieks, "What? I don't agree. If we don't pay back the 100 taels, we'll have to go to jail and wait to die." Ignoring her, Aju lays out her brilliant plan. "To show my sincerity, the house and land deeds will be transferred to me first." She turns to Si Heng. "I will take care of the house and wait until I reach marriageable age, then begin the marriage process again." Chilled Si, "What do you think?" He looks at her, a genuinely intrigued smile on his face. "Miss Wen." He stands and moves closer, the air crackling with tension. "Here we go again. Our girl has narrowly escaped one disaster, only to be dragged right into the heart of the viper's nest." The handsome eldest young master leans in, his voice a low whisper. "The next time you pretend to cry," he warns, "remember to not look into others' eyes." Our girl is totally panicking. "He found out?" She quickly collects herself, offering a polite, "Thank you, young master, for reminding me." He gives her a sharp look and says, "In that case, quickly handle these matters and come back with me to the Shi manor." And just like that, they're riding up to a massive sprawling estate. But as they arrive, a servant looks utterly baffled. Wasn't the eldest young master going to receive the bride? "Where's the sedan chair?" he asks, wondering who this strange man is. Si Heng hops off his horse and gives his orders. "Uncle Zhang, take the Wen family's Ajiku to Little Five's place," he commands. The old servant bows, saying yes. Uncle Zhang leads our heroine through the beautiful courtyard. She can't help but think about the rumors of the Shi family. She'd expected Shi family to be a total brute, but he actually helped her. They finally arrive at a set of doors, but chaos erupts. Servants are pounding on the door, begging the fifth young master to come out before he misses the wedding. Uncle Zhang sighs, trying to reason with the man inside. But a weak, coughing voice drifts out from behind the door. "I'm already a dying man. Why should I delay someone else's life? Let her go back." The words are so tragic, but just then, the door creaks open. A pale, ethereal man steps out. This is the groom, Shichi. He looks her straight in the eye and asks, "Did my mother threaten you? Is your family in difficulty?" He offers to give her money and send her back, telling her to find another match. His kindness is completely unexpected, and our girl is stunned. He tells her about his tragic, isolated life, where the only thing he's ever eaten is medicine, and he's never even seen a stranger. With a heartbreakingly calm voice, he asks, "Miss Wen, do you really wish to marry a man such as I?" She remembers seeing him in her past life, already dead in his bed. As he tries to send her away, she suddenly grabs his sleeve. "Fifth young master," she exclaims. Key turns, and she declares with a brilliant smile, if the fifth young master is willing to marry me, then how could Wen Jiu be unwilling? The poor boy goes beet red. He is completely flustered. Our girl is swooning internally. After a lifetime of dealing with greedy, lecherous men, this pure sweet soul is a breath of fresh air. But the tender moment is shattered when a shrill voice screams, shameless whore. A new girl storms in, pointing an accusing finger. She calls our girl a leech from a lousy family trying to trap her cousin. The stress sends Xiqi into a violent coughing fit, and our heroine immediately rushes to support him. Fifth young master, let me help you sit down, she says gently. This only makes the new girl, his cousin Ling Lan, even more furious. They move inside, but the cousin won't let it go. I heard her family lied about her birth date. She'll never be able to have children, she screeches. Suddenly, a cold voice cuts through the drama. Our Shi family's women have still not become so frivolous, yet there are others forgetting their own surname. It's the eldest young master, Shi Heng, and he looks absolutely furious. Chi looks up at his eldest brother, as Ziheng delivers an icy glare that could freeze fire. He doesn't waste a single second. Uncle Zhang finds someone to teach young Miss Bao manners. He commands with chilling calm. If she's unable to learn, he continues, not even looking up from his book, then send her back to wherever she came from. Savage. The cousin is trembling, trying to apologize, but it's too late. She's dragged away. Our girl is seriously impressed. This man is worthy of being the future king of the underworld. Uncle Zhang stops the bratty cousin and tells her she must apologize to Miss Wen first. Humiliated, Ling Lan forces out a sorry, but our girl isn't done. With a sweet innocent smile, she asks if yelling is a sign of a sharp tongue. The final blow. The cousin bursts into tears and runs away, wailing. Ziheng smirks at his younger brother. How is it? Now that you've met young Miss Wen, do you still want to close your doors? He teases. Later, he scolds his servants for letting his brother's medicine get cold. When they explain the fifth young master had locked himself in, Ziheng snaps. If he closed his doors, didn't you know there's also a window? The servants immediately promise to climb through the window next time. She tries to explain to our girl that his brother likes to joke, but his servants know the truth. The eldest young master is always serious. Just then, another servant arrives. Miss Wen, the second madam requested your company. As she's led away, our girl thinks about the jade pendant she's trying to find the owner of. Once she enters the Shi manor, she's sure she can find them, and when she does, she won't let them off. She's startled to find both brothers waiting for her outside the room. Jiang smirks. Is Miss Wen afraid of something? Even with us here, are you afraid that someone will eat you? He gestures for her to go in. She takes a deep breath and enters the room where two imposing women, the old madam and the second madam, are seated. She offers a polite greeting, but the second madam immediately launches an attack. Since your family deceived our family, why are you in my manor? Outside, Ziheng smirks. Don't worry, he tells his brother. That girl won't be bullied. He looks completely confident in her. Our heroine remains perfectly calm. I've come to the Shi manor to discuss with the madam how to pay it back, she says. The second madam scoffs, accusing her of using Shichi's kindness to get out of paying the dowry. But the old madam cuts in. Good, she says with a smile. This family's young miss is honest. She reveals she's having the horoscopes rechecked, and they'll wait for the results. The second madam can only glare, silently fuming that a girl from such a background could marry her son. Our girl has to force a smile and endure the icy stare. The tense silence is broken when a servant rushes in. Second madam, two scholars are outside, and one of them says they are Miss Wen's younger brother. The second madam eyes her suspiciously. Do you have a younger brother? Our girl confirms that she does. But inside she's reeling. Her brother Wen has always been impulsive. She never told her family about this plan, so how on earth did he find out? Here is your GOAT Manhwa recap script. A decision is made in the heavens of the estate. Since this boy is technically family, he's allowed in. And with that the drama begins. A young man bursts into the courtyard, screaming for his sister. He barrels towards our unsuspecting heroine, who is just trying to enjoy a quiet moment. He grabs her arm, his face a mask of pure desperation. Come back with me, he begs, promising to quit school and get a job to support her. He pleads with her not to marry Shi. But our girl just pinches his cheeks, completely baffled by this chaotic outburst. Before she can even get a word in, a smooth voice calls her name. A Jew, a new challenger, has entered the arena. A man named Meng Chengyun steps forward with a smug, self-satisfied smile. He claims he and our girl's sister are childhood sweethearts, and that their families had already agreed to a marriage. The second madam immediately puts the sister on the spot, demanding to know if this is true. Her face turns to ice. She fiercely denies any marriage agreement and calls him a damn scumbag right to his face. Our little nugget is ready to throw down for her, but this guy doesn't take a hint. He leans in close, whispering poison in her ear about how her fiancé Shi won't live long. She is not having it. She shoves him back, snapping at him for being so disgustingly familiar with a woman who is about to be married. Her little brother tries to defend the creep, saying Big Brother Meng is doing this for Yat. But one icy death glare from our heroine shuts him right up. She can smell a rat a mile away. This guy isn't here out of concern. He's clearly here to extort money from the family. Just then, a powerful presence enters the room. It's her fiancé, Ichi, and his eyes are practically shooting daggers. He takes in the entire scene with one cold, calculating look. Without missing a beat, he gives the most savage order imaginable. Someone, drag him out for me. His guards immediately move in, surrounding the stunned Meng Chengyun. The man starts screaming accusations, calling Wen Jiu greedy and a bully. Sichi just calmly adds, cut out his tongue as well. The little brother gulps, absolutely terrified. Our heroine quickly leans down down, whispering that her fiancé is so cruel. She reassures him that he's just joking, and the boy breathes a sigh of relief. He's immediately starstruck, asking if this handsome, terrifying man is his new brother-in-law. One look at the dashing Si-Chi, and the boy is completely smitten. He swoons, thinking it's no wonder his sister immediately agreed to the engagement. This whole situation reminds our girl of a scene from the original novel. The male lead, a dark and brooding mage, walks into a department store. He's carrying the tiny heroine, Elizabeth, and demands travelwear for her. The shop clerk just gives a knowing smile. "Please come this way," she says, leading them deeper into the magical store. The mage is asked to let the little girl down for a moment. Suddenly she's swarmed by staff who descend upon her with measuring tapes. With a magical flourish, they present a mountain of clothes. "Shall we try each one of them?" the clerk asks with a dazzling smile. The poor girl is in absolute shock, stuttering as she looks at the endless racks of dresses. Her cold-hearted captor just asks, "Is it not enough?" The clerk eagerly offers to bring out even more options. The little nugget absolutely loses it, wailing about how long this is all going to take. Yes, in the novel, the obsessive male lead would try to buy everything in sight for the heroine. And of course, Elizabeth would reject every single gift. But our girl is much more pragmatic. Looking at the marriage certificate, she decides staying in the Shi mansion might be the best move after all. A servant presents the certificate for her to sign. Her new husband watches with a pleased, almost predatory smile. He leans in, his voice low. "You're now the mistress of the Shi mansion," he says, "hence you're now in charge of this region." Sometime later, we see her little brother. He accuses his brother-in-law of setting a trap, realizing he's made a bad move. The fifth young master calmly tells him to stop and start over. The kid is clearly pouting, thinking it's regrettable that the game is going so badly. Shi Heng himself takes over, playfully poking the boy's cheek. He teases him for being so bad at the game, while the little guy laments that he isn't as smart as his own eldest brother. Xi Heng is not amused by the backhanded compliment, grabbing the boy's head. "Hey, you've already learned how to insult me." The two bicker playfully, while our heroine and the fifth master watch on, amused by the chaotic energy. "Wow, ow, let me go." The boy yelps as Xi Heng easily picks him up. His older sister decides it's time to play wingwoman. She announces she's taking her brother to see something fun. The little guy eagerly agrees, and the two of them leave our heroine and the fifth master alone together. She can't help but smile. Her brother has only been around Shi Heng for a few days, and he's already learned to be so slick. She sits down with the fifth master, bringing a basket of snacks. She gently asks if his mother made things difficult for him. He's still so shy, it just makes her want to tease him more. She offers him some osmanthus cakes she made herself, one plate sweeter than the other just for him. He takes a bite but says nothing, making her a little nervous. I mean, come on, she was the richest woman in her past life, with a chain of restaurants. It doesn't taste good? He blushes furiously, stammering that it's not bad at all. "No, it's delicious," he finally admits, his face bright red. She grins, playfully pushing another piece towards him. She sighs contentedly. It's been a long time since she's had such a leisurely, peaceful day. The two of them sit in a comfortable, heartwarming silence. Just then, a servant arrives to announce that it's time for dinner. The fifth master glances at the cakes, wondering what his unfortunate third brother is having to eat tonight. He looks down at the delicious pastries in his hand. A thought strikes him. "I will bring some to third brother," he decides, since he likes sweets. He mentions that it's getting dark and cold, and since his brother can't stand the cold, he's worried. Our heroine's heart goes out to them. "I'll deliver it," she offers immediately. "Which courtyard does he live in?" He warns her to be careful. "If you bump into my mother," he says, "don't let her see you, and don't say the food is for third brother." He then explains the heartbreaking situation. The third brother is the son of a concubine, and is treated worse than a slave. His life is an absolute nightmare. She arrives at a desolate rundown courtyard, and hears a terrible commotion from inside. There are shouts about humiliation and suicide, and she sees men armed with sticks. What is going on? She peeks through the gate and sees a group of men cornering a young woman in a pond. A richly dressed woman watches with a furious expression, ordering someone to call for her aunt immediately. Wen Jiu moves closer, her view obscured by the guards' backs. Then she sees it. They're kicking a young man who is already on the ground. This is too miserable. She realizes he must be Shichi's older brother and knows she cannot let this continue. Her face hardens with resolve. She steps forward and yells, "Stop!" The guards freeze, shocked by her sudden appearance. "Ah, it's the fifth mistress," one of them exclaims. The woman in charge glares at her, absolutely seething with rage. "This bitch," she thinks, "she's ruining my plans." Again, here is your GOAT YouTube Manhwa recap. The absolute viper Ling Lan is seething. She tells her maid to keep beating the third young master until he's crippled. But our girl Wen Jiu steps forward with an icy glare. "This courtyard still belongs to the Shi family," she declares. Ling Lan sneers, calling Wen Jiu's people idiotic slaves with water for brains. A loyal maid quickly suggests getting the mistresses to sort this out. Ling Lan can't believe her eyes. This low-born peasant is actually commanding the servants of the main house. But Wen Jiu has more important things to worry about. She rushes to the beaten man kneeling by the water's edge. He looks up, his eyes full of pain and exhaustion. And in that instant she recognizes him. It's Ji Swan, the future prime minister. In her past life, he was known for being cruel, but he had always taken care of her. She asks him softly if he pushed Ling Lan into the lake. He just says, "I didn't." A wave of sympathy washes over her. "I know," she whispers. She can't believe his youth was so utterly miserable. Noticing the blood on his knuckles, she offers him a handkerchief. He explains quietly, "She jumped in by herself," before adding, "I know that you're speaking the truth." Staring at this broken boy, our heroine's fear vanishes, replaced by a heart-wrenching ache. Of course, the screeching harpy has to ruin the moment. "What is your relationship with him?" Ling Lan shrieks. "Oh, I know. You have an indecent relationship with him, don't you?" But before she can finish her sentence, slap. Wen Jiu's hand connects with her cheek, the sound echoing through the courtyard. "The servants call you miss," our girl says, her voice dangerously low. "But what right do you have to humiliate the third young master of the Shi family? She knows his future. This man rejected princesses and became a monk to avoid marriage. The idea of him being unruly is laughable." Ling Lan completely loses it and lunges at Wen Jiu like a feral cat. But servants hold her back just as the second madam arrives. Ling Lan immediately starts wailing. "Aunt, I don't want to live anymore." Her maids spin a sob story while the gossip birds chirp about how despicable Sai Swan is. But Wen Jiu connects the dots. The second madam wanted Ling Lan to marry another cousin, so Ling Lan is trying to eliminate Shi Xuan as a potential match by ruining his reputation. "He's so unlucky," our girl thinks with a sigh. Suddenly, a powerful voice cuts through the chaos. The old madam has arrived. She turns to Wen Jiu. "Aju, you're an honest child. Tell grandma everything you saw." Our girl knows it's a test. The old madam is clearly biased. She realizes she's navigating a viper's nest where these women will do anything to get what they want. The old madam smiles sweetly. "Don't think so hard, just say it." Then the Jew takes a breath and says carefully, "When I entered, I saw this person and Miss Biao fight." The second madam immediately snaps at her, but it's too late. The old madam's face hardens. She orders the servants who beat Shi Xuan to be hit 50 times. They drop to their knees, begging for mercy. The second madam tries to protest, but the old madam ignores her, turning to Shi Xuan with a gentle expression and leading him away to be treated. Later, inside, the second madam dismisses her servants. Then she turns on Wen Jiu, her voice like ice. Our girl is confused, but the second madam is furious, accusing her of slandering Ling Lan and ruining her reputation. But Wen Jiu isn't backing down. She calmly explains that she was protecting the family's honor from the behavior of both Ling Lan and the servants. "I only did it for your own good, mother." The second madam is stunned by her audacity. "Not kneeling? Fine. Stand here until you know what you did wrong. You are not allowed to sleep." And with a slam of the door, our poor heroine is left standing alone in the courtyard. "Looks like I won't be sleeping tonight," she murmurs, heartbroken. As she stands there, pondering the second madam's strange behavior, it begins to rain. A sudden sneeze escapes her. "Oh, come on. I'm too pitiful," she thinks. Just then, a door creaks open. Someone steps out into the rain. It's Shi Xuan. She's shocked to see him. He wordlessly kneels beside her in the pouring rain. He won't meet her eyes, but quietly asks, "Is your hand okay?" Meanwhile, a panicked servant is banging on the second madam's door. But before anyone can answer, another figure appears through the downpour, holding an umbrella. It's the handsome fifth young master, Shi Heng, and he's heading straight for our girl. He gently touches her cold cheek. "How long have you been in the rain? Why didn't you call for me?" His soft words make her swoon. "It's okay now," he whispers, pulling her under his umbrella. "I'm here." For a moment, she feels safe, but her eyes fall on Shi Xuan, still kneeling stoically in the rain. She pulls Shi Heng toward him, trying to shield the stubborn boy from the rain, but he refuses to move an inch. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife as our boy kneels in the pouring rain. But then his brother joins him, declaring, "Since you want to kneel down, then I will kneel down with you." Suddenly, a voice cuts through the storm like lightning. "What are you kneeling for?" It's the second madam, and she looks absolutely furious as her son addresses her. Her icy gaze lands on our poor heroine. "The win to die," she screeches, blaming our girl for the fifth young master's predicament. But the third young master steps up, defending his wife and his brother from their mother's wrath. The madam snaps, her face contorted with rage. "Since when is he your brother?" He doesn't even flinch. "He is," he states firmly. "Blood is thicker than water." The second madam is left sputtering, pointing a trembling finger at him, utterly speechless. Our girl Aju watches this whole chaotic family drama unfold, her mind racing. Something is definitely being kept secret here, and she needs to figure it out, fast. Just then, a new player enters the scene with a slick, knowing smile. It's the first young master Shi Heng, and he starts quoting proverbs about brotherly harmony, throwing some serious high-class shade right at his aunt. The message is clear: back off. Defeated, the second madam waves a dismissive hand. "Never mind," she mutters before turning to leave. As the third young master thanks her, Aju grabs his sleeve, a realization dawning on her. The future of this powerful family rests in the hands of these brothers. The Chibi squad, having watched the whole thing, knows the show's over for now, but the ordeal has taken its toll. Our girl is now sick in bed, dizzy and weak from being caught in the rain. Outside her room, two maids start gossiping, whispering about a dark secret only the oldest servants in the mansion know. They reveal that long ago, before the second madam gave birth to her son, she was pregnant with another child, but a maid caused her to go into labor early. Tragically, the child was lost, leaving the second madam completely shattered. She wanted the servant executed for her mistake. But here's the twist. The servant was pregnant with the master's child, and that servant gave birth to none other than the third young master, Shi Xuan. The maids connect the dots, finally understanding the second madam's cold treatment of him. All this time, our girl has been listening from her bed, the shocking truth finally clicking into place. So that is what happened. The fever makes her shiver and sneeze, and she just wants to drift off to sleep. A voice orders for medicine to be brought over, and she wakes up to a bitter taste in her mouth. It's her husband, Shi Xuan, holding a bowl of medicine for her. She's surprised to see him. He gently coaxes her to drink it, promising it's not bitter. She thinks he's treating her like a child, but she downs the whole thing in one gulp anyway. Of course, it's disgustingly bitter. But before she can complain, he offers her a piece of dried sugar sugared fruit, and the sweetness melts on her tongue. He just smiles at her reaction. Suddenly, the door opens again. The first and third young masters have arrived to check on her. The first young master smirks and says, "Catch," tossing a beautiful flower right at her. She fumbles but manages to catch it, completely flustered. She internally grumbles about his constant surprises, but can't help but wonder why the whole crew is here. He teases her, saying she'd still be sick if he hadn't taken care of her. The fifth young master, Shi-Chi, quietly motions for her to come sit with them. The brothers start checking on each other, their concern genuine and heartwarming. A little chibi pylon of brotherly love ensues. Jiu watches them, a thought striking her. These two, Shi Xuan and Shi Heng, are destined to be great pillars of the dynasty. In the original story, they were bitter rivals, their conflict causing chaos. But looking at them now, they seem to be on pretty good terms. A small hopeful smile graces her lips. The future can change, right? The first young master catches her staring into space. "What are you thinking about?" he asks. He suggests they go for a walk since the Mooncake Festival is making the city lively. She hesitates, then quietly admits, "I just miss my mother." She's worried about her mom hearing she's sick. She also mentions some sketchy relatives staying at her mother's house. The first young master dismisses her worries and hands her a golden token. "Use this," he says. "You can visit your mother at any time." He gives her a playful wink. "Just don't make Shi-Chi worry." Our girl blushes bright red at his teasing. A carriage is already waiting for her outside. Her husband sees her off, noting with a soft smile that she's looking better every day. He just asks her to come home early. She beams. "Yes, I know." After she leaves, the brothers are left behind. Little Shi-Chi already looks lonely without her. The first young master decides to liven things up with a playful pounce. For now all is peaceful as the three brothers relax together, enjoying a rare, quiet day. Here we go again. Our girl is finally out and about, riding in a simple carriage. The driver calls out, asking which road they should take. This sends our heroine into a quiet reflection. She remembers the dark days after her father fell ill, when her family was on the brink of ruin. Her mother had to work tirelessly, running a small tea and liquor shop just to make ends meet. A soft smile touches her lips. She decides she wants to see her mom first, directing the carriage to the stall. And just as she arrives, she sees her mother hard at work and calls out, "Mother, let me help you." Her mom turns, a look of pure delight on her face. "Jiu," she exclaims, telling her daughter it's not busy enough for her to help. But our girl's loyal maid, Yu, is completely scandalized. "Young madam, why are you doing this?" she cries, appalled at the thought of her lady working. Yu immediately volunteers to take over the work herself, letting her madam rest. But when Ju's mother gently pulls her daughter aside, she presses two small broken cakes into her hand, saying they can't be sold anymore. With a loving smile, her mom says they taste better when they're broken. The simple act of kindness nearly brings tears to our girl's eyes. In her past life, she was poor and hungry, but now she has everything. She realizes that all the wealth in the world means nothing compared to her family's safety. She makes a solemn vow to protect them in this life, no matter what. As she stands there, she overhears some men gossiping about the capital's chaotic politics. They complain that ever since the Duke of Heng died, powerful officials only care about fighting for the throne, not the people. Our girl sighs, the weight of the world heavy on her shoulders. She turns to go throw some trash away. But as she takes a step, her foot lands in something wet and sticky. Her eyes widen in horror. It's a pool of blood. Her instincts scream at her to run, but before she can move, a blade flashes in front of her face. A voice growls, "Don't move." The cold steel presses against her throat. A man grabs her from behind, his arm tight around her. Her maid, Yu, sees the whole thing, and her face drains of all color. "Young madam," Yu silently mouths for help, her eyes wide with terror. The man holding our girl hostage snaps at the maid. "Don't speak. Go and bring me the horse." Wen Jiu, ever the quick thinker, tries to rationalize. This man is just a warrior in trouble. If she helps him, he'll let her go. She calmly offers him all the silver she has for his travel expenses. But the man just smirks, leaning in closer. "Oh, looks like you're worth more money," he muses, and rips off his blindfold. Wen Jiu's blood runs cold. It's Zhao Fan. Her mind is reeling. Why is Zhao Fan here? This isn't right. In her previous life he was supposed to be sick in another city. The timeline is all wrong. He pulls the sword back slightly but keeps a firm grip on her. "Lead me out of here, and your life will be assured," he commands. He shoves her forward, as her maid cries out her name in terror. "If you dare report to the officials," Zhao Fan snarls at the maid, "be prepared to receive her corpse." He forces our terrified heroine into a carriage, and they speed away, leaving the helpless maid behind. Inside, he grabs her by the throat, his eyes cold and menacing. Back at the mansion, Yu is in a full-blown panic, running for her life. "Bad news, madam," she screams, bursting into the main hall. Fifth young madam has been kidnapped by a bandit. But the second madam's reaction is absolutely frigid. She has only been in the family for a few days and yet has already caused so much trouble. She snaps, forbidding anyone from speaking of this. Yu is horrified, realizing the woman doesn't care if our girl lives or dies. The old madam, however, is more practical. "Then why are you still here? Go and report to the officials right away," she orders. With tears streaming down her face, Yu explains the kidnapper's threat. If they call the officials, he'll kill Wen Jiu on the spot. The second madam scoffs cruelly. "So what? You really believe he'll let her go?" She adds with a vicious sneer that even if our girl survives, her reputation will be ruined. Sickening. Cutting through the drama, the old madam makes a decision. "Tell first young master to come here," she commands. A flicker of hope ignites in Yu's heart. Surely he will have a solution. The scene shifts to the first young master, Xe Chen, who is talking with his sister. She whispers something urgent to him. And he immediately understands. Got it, he says, telling her he has to attend to some business. He turns to his grandmother. Don't worry, grandmother, he says, his voice steady and calm. I'll definitely bring back fifth sister unharmed. The old madam urges him to be careful and takes soldiers with him. As he's about to leave, his sword being brought to him, a calm voice cuts through the tension. It's the handsome and mysterious fourth master, Shi Yu. I'll go with you, he states simply. Only Chen smirks, accepting the help. All right, he says. He quickly delegates tasks to his men, telling them to search the area around the tea shack. The two brothers mount their horses and ride off into the day. They arrive at the deserted tea stall. Wen Jiu's poor mother is weeping, blaming herself for everything. Their third sister tries to comfort her, pointing out that Shi Chen is very good at consoling others. We're depending on you, Shi Chen tells the grieving mother. Shi Yu gently asks her to stay calm and allow him to investigate. He kneels down, examining the carriage tracks on the ground. He notes the direction and the lack of a ransom demand, concluding it wasn't a common bandit. He recalls the maid's description of the kidnapper's sword, its hilt sparkling with blue jewels. That's not bandit gear, that's the mark of a powerful family. He deduces the kidnapper is likely hiding in the mountains as a storm begins to brew. Meanwhile, in a carriage rattling through the downpour, Zhao Fan looks out at the dark road. He turns to our captive heroine, with a grim look. Troublesome lady, he says, his voice low. Please pick a road that leads to a place where we can hide ourselves. Here we go again. Our girl, Aju, is trapped in a carriage with the man who kidnapped her, and her mind is racing. She knows this guy is famous for trusting absolutely no one. She realizes his question about the roads was just a twisted little test. He already knew where he was going. And just like that, the prince's voice cuts through the air, icy and sharp. Get out. He grabs her wrist, his grip like iron, and yanks her from the carriage. He throws her out into the pouring rain without a second thought. And suddenly, a flash of a brutal memory. A man is stabbed, blood spraying everywhere. The horse shrieks as the prince turns to her, his face a cold mask in the storm. He tells her they're not taking either road, just plunging into the forest where anyone unfamiliar could get lost for days. With a cruel smirk, he declares, "Let's go," and our girl realizes with horror he's just going to drag her through the unforgiving wilderness. 4 agonizing hours later, they're trekking through a rocky, rain-soaked mountain pass. They finally find a small cave, a tiny bit of shelter from the relentless downpour. Ah, Ju breathes a sigh of relief. As she slumps down, she silently curses him. Trash Zhao Fan, she thinks, her legs screaming in protest. Her eyes land on the cloth bag he's clutching so tightly. What could be so important? She asks him how much further it is to Yang City. About 50 kilometers, he says, without even looking at her. She forces herself to remain calm and collected, a reaction that clearly surprises him. A slow, dangerous smirk spreads across his face. You aren't afraid of me? He asks. Our little nugget's inner monologue is pure savage. Will being scared keep me alive? She knows he's wounded and just putting on a brave face. This could be her one and only chance to get revenge for her past life, but he just laughs, promising he won't kill her. Instead, he dangles the promise of wealth and power, twisting a strand of her hair like a predator toying with its prey. Oh, is that so? She says, her voice flat. Internally, she's absolutely disgusted. The nerve of this guy trying to bribe her. She imagines herself barfing a literal rainbow. She fumes, thinking how despicable he is. Did he really think she was some clueless damsel? If she wanted to die, she would have taken him down with her. But she can't die yet, not until she's had her revenge. Suddenly, the glint of steel cuts through the rain. They're surrounded by masked assassins. The leader orders them to hand over their items, saying their boss will spare them if they cooperate. But the prince? He just grins. You want it? Come get it. He draws his blade, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying light. I'll flash. In an instant, one of the assassins falls, blood gushing from his throat. The others disperse, surrounding him as a chaotic battle erupts in the storm. Then, the absolute scumbag moves. He grabs Aju. He pulls her in front of him, using our girl as a human shield. A blade slices across her shoulder, and blood stains her pink dress. She cries out in pain as he retreats, dragging her with him. He has the audacity to promise he'll repay the wounds someday. Our girl is screaming internally at his shamelessness. He spots a narrow path, a potential escape route, and a disgusting idea forms in his mind. He'll push her off to distract them, but before he can move, she grabs him, her eyes blazing with fury. You? With all her strength, she pulls the shocked prince down with her, tumbling off the cliffside. From the edge, she glares down at him. When will this future come? She demands. You owe me a life. And it's only right for you to pay it back while I'm alive, she declares. Down below, the prince is seething. This bitch is insane. The assassins peer over the edge. The leader sends his men after the prince but gives a chilling order for our girl. Dispose of this ruthless bitch as well. One of them stays behind, advancing on her. The cold steel of a sword points at her throat. She closes her eyes, a single thought echoing in her mind. Am I about to die? Just as the final blow is about to land. Clang! A blade in a red scabbard blocks the attack. A mysterious figure in red has appeared out of nowhere. Her eyes fly open. It can't be. Si Heng? He turns to her, his voice a warm comfort in the cold rain. I'm here. Tears instantly well up in her eyes. She's completely overwhelmed, the tears finally starting to fall. He gently reaches out, wiping a tear from her cheek. You looked so heroic when you pushed him down, he teases softly. He muses that he thought she was different, that he'd never seen her this shaken, not even after a fight, and that's when the dam breaks. She starts wailing, crying about how scared she was. He looks completely flustered, telling her to stop crying before her eyes swell up. Peered, she sniffles, trying to pull herself together, thinking he's really bad at telling jokes. He asks if she can walk. She insists she can, but the moment she takes a step, she slips on the muddy ground. Careful, he says, catching her just in time. But the assassins aren't done. They see their comrade has fallen and regroup to attack them both. They're surrounded once more, the situation looking grim. But Si-heng is impossibly calm. He simply takes a ribbon from his sleeve and gently ties it over her eyes, blindfolding her. "Eldest brother," she whispers. He tells her not to be afraid and to get on. She can't see, and with her sprained ankle, she knows she'd only be in the way. She climbs onto his back, feeling like a burden, but trusting him completely. He holds her close and whispers, "Aju, be good. Let's first return home before you cry." Meanwhile, far away, a woman with a chilling smile looks out at the storm. "Such a desolate place outside the city," she says, "perfect for killing someone. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Settle in, grab your popcorn, because things are about to get bloody." In the pouring rain, our heroes are surrounded. An assassin lays down the terms. "If you kill this bitch, then kill yourself. You can leave with an intact corpse." What a generous offer. But our male lead, holding the blindfolded heroine, just smirks. "Oh, and if I don't?" he purrs, not even flinching at the sword pointed at his heart. The assassin roars, "Then die." Swish. In a flash of steel and a spray of blood, the tables turn completely. The male lead stands unfazed, holding our girl tight as the assassin collapses. He looks down at the mess, a single drop of blood on his cheek, and his voice is pure ice. Such a desolate place outside of the city is a perfect place for killing. Our poor heroine trembles in his arms, the metallic tang of death in the air, the smell of blood, she whispers. As another attacker begs for his life, the male lead pulls her closer. "Aju, don't be afraid," he soothes, while she plays the part of a damsel, claiming she's just a little cold. But then this little nugget leans in and drops a bombshell. In a soft, chilling whisper, she says, "Eldest brother, kill them all. Spare no one." Oh snap! The mask is off, and he is shook. A slow, dangerous smile spreads across his face. "Alright," he says, his eyes gleaming with newfound respect as he raises his sword against the last terrified man. The final assassin makes a desperate charge, but our guy doesn't even need to move. He just holds our girl with one arm completely calm. Whish! He hurls his scabbard like a projectile, taking the man down without breaking a sweat. Standing over the fallen bodies, he scoffs in disgust. What a worthless way to die. Then all the menace melts away as he turns to our heroine. "Little Aju, we're heading home now," he says gently. Back at the sprawling sea mansion, the physician is finishing his report. Assures the second madam that our girl's shoulder wound isn't serious, and the blood all over her wasn't her own. But the second madam is practically simmering with rage. She sees this as a golden opportunity, convinced the kidnapping has ruined Wen Jiu's reputation, and she can finally kick her out. She immediately starts poisoning her son's mind, complaining that Lady Wen is nothing but trouble. Her son, the fifth young master, tries to calm her down, but she just gets more dramatic. The mother is forgotten when the son has a wife, she wails, before huffing off in a snit. She even throws some passive-aggressive shade, telling a servant to get him a cloak so he doesn't get sick while Miss Wen recovers. The fifth young master has had enough. "Mother," he says firmly, "I cannot let her treat Miss Wen this way." He strides to our girl's room and enters, his expression full of concern. "Miss Wen, I'm coming in." She looks up from her bed as he enters. "I just wanted to see you," he says softly, standing by her side. Apologizes for his mother's behavior, asking her not to take it to heart. Our girl is lost in his kindness, but she knows she has to be honest. She looks at him and asks, "Fifth young master, what if what second madam said was not exactly wrong?" His eyes widen. She takes a deep breath and drops the bomb. "What if I truly am no longer pure?" She explains it's understandable for his mother to be worried after what happened. Then she looks him straight in the eye. "I truly did lose my innocence." The poor boy is stunned into silence, taking his silence for rejection. She offers to leave. He immediately panics and grabs her hand. "No, I don't find you repulsive." He looks at her with utter sincerity. "Miss Wen, there is nothing as important as staying alive." He holds her hand tight, pleading, "Don't mention leaving anymore." And with a gentle smile, he completely melts our hearts. Later that night, the eldest brother is alone in his room, replaying our girl's savage command in his mind. Just then, the fifth young master arrives. He dismisses the servant, his face grim, and then our sweet gentle boy says something no one expected. "Eldest brother, please help me kill a person." He wants to kill the man who kidnapped Miss Wen. The eldest brother is amused. His little brother, who wouldn't harm a fly, is ready to commit murder for this girl. He smirks to himself, thinking how little his brother knows about the weak girl he's protecting. Okay, he agrees easily. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of the third young master. He checks on his brother, who assures him the blood isn't his. He then tells the fifth brother to go back to Miss Wen's side, since the storm might be frightening her. The fifth young master immediately agrees and rushes off. Once he's gone, the eldest brother reveals what he found during the ambush, the Imperial Jade Seal. This changes everything. Meanwhile, back in her room, our girl's eyes land on a jade pendant hanging nearby. She recognizes the Shi family crest. The pieces are finally clicking into place. The brothers storm in, demanding to know what's happening. A servant stumbles forward, his face pale with terror. He gasps that 100,000 armored cavalry have breached the city, and soldiers are slaughtering everyone in sight. Our girl freezes, her heart dropping to her stomach. The city has been breached? How is this possible? In her previous life, this massacre wasn't supposed to happen for another 6 months. Something has drastically changed the timeline. Her brother demands to know which army has attacked them, but the servant can only stammer that it's complete chaos. The enemy troops are killing indiscriminately, and the city's own soldiers are utterly useless. Realizing the mansion is now a death trap, our heroine knows she has one priority: find the fifth young master. She frantically scans the chaotic courtyard and spots him, crying out his name. He turns toward her, and she immediately rushes to his side, her hand reaching for his. But before she can say a word, a servant interrupts, telling him the second madam is waiting for him in the back garden. The servant adds that the third brother is already there too. It seems the second madam had already sent people to gather her sons. Our girl's eyes narrow with suspicion. The second madam, what is she planning? Just then the woman herself appears, calling for her son and yanking our heroine away from him with an icy glare. She turns to her son, her voice shaking with intensity, and demands he swear an oath to the heavens to protect Kier, no matter the cost. Suddenly, the harsh voices of soldiers echo nearby. They're here for the family's valuables, and their commander gives a chilling order, chop their hands off if necessary. The second madam's face is a mask of pure terror, but her eyes burn with a fierce, motherly resolve. In a shocking move, our girl Wen Jiu steps forward, raising her hand. She declares that she was born as she and will die as she, even if it means eternal damnation for breaking her oath. The second madam's eyes flash. You are the one who swore those words, she hisses. She shoves a bag of valuables into Wen Jiu's hands, warning her to remember that promise or never find peace, even in the underworld. She then reveals a secret room behind a rock garden, a place for them to hide. Go, quick, she commands, pushing them towards safety. With a final desperate shove, she sends them stumbling forward as her son cries out, "Mother!" Her hand falls away, her sacrifice made. The madam turns, her back straight, and grabs another young man, Shi Swan. She reminds him he's just a lowly servant, holding him fast. But then her voice changes, becoming a desperate plea. From today onwards, you are Chier's real older brother. A loud bang signals the soldiers have arrived. They're here. The madam shoves X1 toward the hidden passage, screaming, "Quickly, scram!" She turns to face the soldiers alone, a picture of defiance as her servants cower and beg for their lives. "What are you crying for?" she snaps, her voice ringing with courage. "If we are to die, it is better to take our own lives." The enemy commander just smirks, mocking her bravery, certain that the Shi family wealth is in her hands. With a final venomous glare, she points a trembling finger at him. "I curse you. May you suffer a 10,000-fold for the calamity you brought upon this family." And with that she leans back, throwing herself into the cold pond below. The soldiers stare in shock, completely stunned by her defiant act. Their commander roars in fury, "Get her out. You wish to die? It won't be that easy." His men move to jump in after her. From the hiding spot, the fifth young master tries to bolt out to save his mother. Our girl desperately holds him back, and he cries out as the movement reopens his wound. She begs him to calm down, but he's frozen in grief, only able to watch the horror unfold. His brother rushes to his side, trying to comfort him. Tears stream down his face as he whispers, "Mother." The group makes their way to the stone room the second madam mentioned, but Isli Xuan stops them, his expression grim. He grabs his brother's arm, explaining that hiding in the most obvious spot is a guaranteed death sentence. He reveals he knows of a true secret tunnel. Just then, they hear the soldiers shouting, a reward on their heads. They're closing in fast. Our girl realizes X1 is their only hope. He's always been cautious and logical, the only one who would truly know the residents' secrets. She knows the hidden tunnels are extensive. Xian leads them confidently down another path, gently taking our heroine's hand to guide her through the dark. He finds a hidden mechanism on a decorative vase, and with a rumble, a secret passage opens in the floor. This is their way out. They emerge into the tall grass outside the city walls. Finally safe. "We got out," our girl exclaims, relief washing over her. After a while, the fifth young master asks her if she's alright. They quickly check on each other's injuries, both brushing off the pain. Shi Xuan looks back towards the city. "I used to be afraid that I would be silenced one day for knowing about the tunnels," he says quietly. "I never thought I would use them for this." But just as they pause to catch their breath, a new sound cuts through the night, the clippity-clop of horse hooves. The hunt is on. Hiding in the tall reeds at night, our heroes hear a chilling command echo through the darkness. "Search for them. Kill anything that moves and breathes." The commander's face is a mask of cold fury. Suddenly, the night is filled with screams. Soldiers drag innocent women from their hiding spots, laughing cruelly. The poor girls beg for their lives, but their pleas fall on deaf ears. Our girl, Lady Wen, watches in horror, her heart clenching at the sheer wickedness of these men. A gentle hand touches hers, and the fifth young master whispers, "Lady Wen, don't be afraid." He knows they're exposed. "It's too dangerous here," she agrees, her voice trembling but steady. "We have to leave. Let's head towards the river." They move as one through the rustling reeds, and just ahead, a glimmer of hope. "Come quickly. Get on the boat," the fifth young master urges, helping her aboard with a gentle warning to be careful. He steadies her as she steps into the small vessel. "Third brother, quickly, get in," she calls out, but he doesn't move. Instead, he draws his sword, and with a single sharp swish, he cuts the rope, pushing them away from the shore. He shoves the boat into the fast-moving current. "Third brother," she screams, panicking. "The currents are too rapid. You have to get on now." But he only holds out a dagger to her. His eyes are grim. "Take this," he says. "If you encounter a situation where death is the best option, use it for yourself." Just then, shouts ring out from the shore. Someone is running in that direction. And with that, the third brother turns and runs. A perfect decoy. Aboard the boat, the fifth young master lets out a weak cough. Their escape doesn't go unnoticed. Someone took a boat into the river. A soldier yells. The commander gives a savage order. Fire the arrows. A storm of death rains down from the sky. Ki, the fifth young master cries out her name. Without a second's hesitation, he throws himself over her, shielding her with his own body. He lets out a strangled groan as arrows thud into his back. Fifth young master, what's wrong? She cries. He covers her eyes. Don't look, he rasps, the metallic scent of blood filling the air. Blood trickles from his lips, but his only concern is her. Lady Wen, don't be afraid, he whispers. She begs him to let her see his wounds, but he just holds her tighter. Don't look, it's all right, he says, his thoughts drifting to all the things he'll never get to do. With arrows protruding from his back, he confesses, I too protected. He speaks of a future they'll never have, before his voice fades to a whisper. Lady Wen, you are very beautiful. His hand falls from her face. A single, heart-shattering scream escapes her as his body goes limp in her arms, the boat drifting aimlessly into the darkness. Elsewhere, in the pouring rain, the third brother faces his pursuers. The leader, a formidable princess, sneers at him. He declares he wishes to meet her commander-in-chief. Her soldier scoffs at his audacity, but the third brother stands his ground, silent and resolute. The princess eyes him with suspicion. Why are you so certain my father would meet you? She demands. He calmly lays out his value, explaining he has a plan to help her weak navy cross the river. She remains skeptical, reminding him of their last failed attempt. You are a citizen of Diane, she says, her voice laced with ice. Your family has just died, and yet you are here to help my father. He claims his true enemies are the Dajin warriors, and this is his revenge. Unimpressed, she asks, did you think I would believe you? He simply asks if this will convince her. He tosses a small cloth-wrapped object towards her. She catches it, her expression shifting as she unwraps it. Her eyes fly wide in utter shock. It's Diane's imperial jade seal. He speaks of unifying the lands, of a talented man choosing a worthy master. The princess calls him a liar, but appreciates his straightforward lust for power. All right, she smirks, a dangerous glint in her eyes. Once you have presented a strategy, you are free to voice any desire. He bows his head. Thank you, princess. Meanwhile, another rider gallops through the storm. It's the fourth young master, Shi Yu. Get down and speak, he commands his subordinate. The news is devastating. The Shi manor has been wiped out by Dajin's cavalry. There are no survivors. Siyu's handsome face turns to stone. Our grandmother, little 6 and little 7 safe? The subordinate reports the old madam is safe at a temple. But then he reveals they found traces of the third young master within the enemy's camp. The man explains that their brother offered the enemy king a strategy, but was rejected. What else did he say? Shiyu presses, his voice dangerously low. The subordinate reveals the third brother's tragic past, how their family mistreated him for years. Another man explodes with rage. What a hateful person. Young master, I'll go kill him. Stay put. Siyu snaps, his eyes blazing. To Taisho Manor, he wheels his horse around and gallops away. Our poor heroine, Si Chi, stands in an opulent room, dressed in a stunning red wedding gown. She approaches the bed, and her blood runs cold. The fifth young master is lying there, pale and still. She reaches for him, his skin icy to the touch. Her breath catches in her throat. There's no breathing, she whispers in horror. Fifth young master is gone. The memory of his last words, his sacrifice, crashes over her. No, she screams, clutching her head in agony. And then she jolts awake. It was a nightmare. A terrifying, vivid nightmare. But before she can even catch her breath, a voice roars from outside the building. If you're sensible enough, hand over the girl yourselves. They're here. A woman's cry shatters the tense silence. Wah, my poor daughter. The girl clings to her father, desperately pleading with him to find another way, to not send her away. The father, his voice trembling, begs the Lord for mercy. She is my only precious daughter, he cries. If she is ruined by those beasts from Dajin, I won't be able to live anymore. But the Lord's face is a mask of grim duty. Dajin's armored cavalry is at their doorstep, and the only way to save the city is to offer a tribute of beautiful women. The mother can only weep as she holds her daughter tight, their tragic fate sealed. Our heroine watches this heart-wrenching scene from a distance. Suddenly the mother rushes over and grabs her arm. She begs our girl to save the Lord's mansion, to take her daughter's place. But our heroine's mind is a million miles away. The person that was with me who saved me, she asks, where is he now? The woman looks baffled. Huh? But, when we saw you, you were the only one at the shore. She explains that our girl was found covered in blood, yet had no injuries at all. The words send a chill down our heroine's spine. How is that possible? She whispers, pushing the woman away. No, I must go to the river and see. The woman's hand shoots out, grabbing her arm in a vice grip. Hey, young lady, you cannot leave. But our girl's eyes are blazing with frantic energy. I must make haste to find fifth young master. The woman's face crumples, and she drops to her knees in a desperate plea. She tells our girl that the man she's looking for was likely thrown into the river, and has already floated away. She begs our heroine to stay and help them instead. The world tilts on its axis. Our girl stumbles back, horrified. She had fought so hard, only to end up right back where she started, in the same tragic timeline. Elsewhere, on the city walls, the chosen women are gathered. One of them snaps at another for crying. If you cry till your makeup is ruined, how are you gonna face the soldiers? She scoffs. The young women look out at the towering walls, seeing them for what they are. A cruel, greedy cage. The same sharp-tongued lady explains the brutal truth. Their lord has to do this, or the entire city will be wiped out. Our heroine stands among them, her face a mask of chilling calm, which earns her a compliment from the woman, who calls her wise. They walk along the ramparts, their footsteps heavy with dread. One girl spits on the ground. Ooh. How shameless. I'd rather die than try and win the favor of those savages. Our heroine turns, her voice as cold as the night air. Then die? The other girls flinch, absolutely shocked into silence by her savage reply. Meanwhile, the lord of the prefecture is busy trying to justify his disgusting plan. Hingans boasts that the Changning beauties are soft and affectionate, guaranteeing the Dajen savages will become drunk in the land of pleasures. But high above, a lone figure stands watch on the city wall. A man in red, his back to the city, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. A cowardly official starts spewing dissent, calling the man a foul-mouthed brat, and whining about how their small force could never fight the enemy. The man in red doesn't even bother to turn around. He utters a single bone-chilling command: kill him. His eyes are glowing with murderous intent. A guard moves instantly, slicing the complainer's throat in a spray of blood. Another commander steps forward to confront the swordsman, Mr. C. He insists they aren't traitors, but Kieran caught her precisely below. He stands his ground, arguing his point. Changning City has no soldiers or generals, he says grimly. If we do not surrender, it will be a bloodbath. Our lives don't matter, but the civilians. He asks what else they can possibly do. Mr. C simply flicks a small token through the air. The commander catches it, and his eyes widen in utter disbelief. He recognizes the insignia. You are Pew stammers, dropping to his knee. Vanguard Li Qing at your command. His loyalty is now absolute. Your will is my command, he roars, his face set with fierce determination. A soldier tries to protest, reminding him that Changing's 9,000 men are no match for Dajin's 100,000, but the commander cuts him off with a sharp gesture. The newly revealed Vanguard Li Qing stares out at the enemy fleet on the water. They won't have 100,000 very soon. From the wall, our heroine watches him, and a memory from a lifetime ago crashes down on her. She knows this man. He is the prince who bathed enemy countries in blood, the man who will become Diane's god of war. And as if on cue, the river AR uptips. Our girl stares, completely stunned. They are burning up, the soldiers are in an uproar, but Li Chang just smirks. This was his plan all along, to make the invaders pay with their lives. He draws his sword, its steel glinting in the firelight. Dajin crooks have invaded our land and have received the heaven's wrath. Changning men, are you here? He roars. A thunderous cry answers him. We are here. With a final command, he orders them to charge and vanquish the enemy. But before he leaves, he turns and kicks a small dagger from our heroine's hand. Throw away the dagger, he tells her gently. He knew you still have me to protect you. Don't ever do this kind of thing again. Her eyes widen in shock. She thought she was all alone, that her elder brother was gone. She was ready to go down fighting, taking as many of them with her as she could. Just then, the other women begin to panic and scream, shouting that the enemy cavalry is coming, and they need to run. But as chaos descends, a lone figure climbs the watchtower and begins to beat the thunderous rhythm of the war drum. The drums of war are beating as the enemy fleet charges the city walls. Up on the ramparts, panic begins to spread. A lady-in-waiting cries that the city of Changing won't hold out, that our girl. She just watches, her expression hardening, with grim resolve. She stands alone, a single defiant figure against the incoming tide of destruction. She turns and walks with purpose toward the giant war drum. With a powerful cry, she slams the mallets down, letting out a thunderous boom that shakes the very foundations of the city. The sound echoes through the streets. A father holding his child looks up, startled. The little one points to the tower. Daddy, someone is singing. A lone woman's voice rises above the chaos, a heart-wrenching song of loyalty and sacrifice. The men in the streets are stunned into silence. A delicate lady is beating the war drums while a dandy gentleman leads the army. Their own fear suddenly feels shameful. Inspired, they grab whatever weapons they can find and charge towards the battle. The battle is a whirlwind of savage chaos. Blades clash, blood flies, and men fall. But the renewed morale works wonders. The enemy ships are set ablaze, breaking apart under the furious assault. Victory is within their grasp. A soldier rushes to report that the enemy commander has fled the scene. The young master's eyes narrow. His subordinate asks, "Do we give chase?" "You bet they do." The fleeing commander screams for his men to row faster, but it's too late. A flash of red soars through the air. Sword drawn, a harbinger of death descending upon them. Our hero lands on the escape boat, his aura positively chilling. The terrified princess shoves her own guard forward. "You go and block him," she screeches. She grabs the man, her face contorted with rage. "If this princess or my brother have any mishap, you are all going to be buried with us." With a final vicious push, she sacrifices him to save her own skin. The poor guard barely has time to ready his spear. Our boy is already a blur of motion, his sword singing through the air. A flash of steel, a spray of blood, and the guard collapses. The princess is splattered with his blood, her eyes wide with disbelief. She screams for her royal brother as he steps over the body. He ignores her completely, leaping forward to cut down another guard who begs for his life. His eyes are like ice as he mutters, "Noisy." The princess stammers his title, paralyzed with fear. "Shut up." He snaps, leveling his blood-soaked sword at her throat. "Where is Wen Jiu?" She whimpers that she doesn't know. He doesn't believe her for a second. He raises his sword to strike, and she screams, babbling that she was just following her father's orders. For a brief moment, he pauses. The small boat drifts silently toward the dock, the air crackling with tension. In a flashback, we see the enemy king, Wen Jiu himself, cornered. He spits at his captors. "If this king dies, you will never see the imperial jade seal again." A soldier just sneers, "Go to hell," and lunges. But before the killing blow can land, a volley of arrows takes the soldier down. The enemy king has fallen. The troops let out a massive roar and charge. Back on the boat, the princess is still trying to use her guard as a human shield. She screams threats, but our hero is already moving. From the window, he's a crimson whirlwind, his blade descending on the terrified guard. The princess can only shriek her brother's name. He dispatches another man with a contemptuous flick of his wrist. "Noisy," he repeats, his patience worn thin. Shut up, he roars, the tip of his sword silencing her pathetic cries. I'll ask you one last time. Where is Wen Jiu? She trembles, sobbing that she doesn't know. He's had enough. He raises his sword, ready to end this farce once and for all. She completely breaks down, collapsing in a heap and swearing she has no idea where her father went. Their boat finally arrives at the pier, the deadly confrontation reaching its climax. In the dead of night, our girl's hand trembles as she clutches his robe. He looks down, his voice laced with concern. Ah, Jiu, what's wrong? She holds up the damning evidence, the jade pendant. Her eyes are wide with a horrifying realization. The truth crashes down on her. All this time, she thought Shiheng was her savior, her brother, but it was him. He was the source of all her misfortune. He doesn't deny it. The jade pendant is indeed mine. That's all it takes. Her hand flies to the hilt of her sword. In a flash of steel and fury, she draws the blade and points it straight at his heart. You and I had no grievances between us, she seethes. Why did you harm me in such a manner? He dodges the blade with an effortless swish, but her rage is a storm that can't be stopped. The memories of her past life flood back, working so hard, becoming rich and powerful, only to be torn down again and again. She remembers the endless slander, the life lived without dignity, and the so-called deep affection from others that made her want to vomit. And it was all because of him. Even if I end up wasting this second life, how could I not hate him? She screams internally. Her voice finally breaks through, raw with agony. Shiheng, why did you sabotage me? I want to kill you. She lunges, a blur of motion and steel, but he's faster. He catches the razor-sharp blade with his bare hand. Blood drips from his palm as he calmly asks, Wen Jiu, calm down. When have I ever harmed you? She shoves the pendant forward, her voice cracking. You're asking me. Wouldn't you know when this jade pendant of yours ended up in my hands? She stands her ground, the sword still held tight. He looks at his bleeding hand, then at her, his expression not of anger, but of deep, aching concern. Jiu, he asks softly, who is the one who harmed you? He then kneels, his own knee bleeding from a previous injury. His eyes burn with a protective fire as he makes a vow. I'll kill him. The intensity of his words shatters her resolve. She whispers his name, Xe. He looks up at her, his voice a pillar of strength in her chaos. Hung. I'm here. And just like that, our poor girl breaks. The fight drains out of her. I can't take my revenge, she chokes out. Tears stream down her face as she sobs. I feel so much hate. I am unworthy of the fifth young master. I don't suit him. Watching her cry, a tight, painful feeling clenches in his chest. His hand is still bleeding, but he ignores it, his only focus on her. Jiu, don't be afraid, he says, kneeling before her. But she can only sob, lost in her grief. In a single gentle motion, he pulls her into a hug. Even if little five is no longer around, you're still she's young madam, he murmurs. Don't cry, I will protect you in the future. He gently pats her head, his voice a soft, unbreakable promise. No matter how the world changes, as long as I am alive, you will definitely be safe and happy. She looks up, her eyes swimming with tears, and whispers. For the first time, she feels a ray of light in the darkness, a reason to keep on living. 7 days later, a somber ceremony is held. The remaining bodies from the Shi Manor are finally laid to rest. As they kneel before the graves, a new threat arrives. An old official, Marquis Anlei, points a finger at Shiheng. Put down your sword, and quickly follow me back to the imperial capital, or else. Shiheng simply smirks. This guy is definitely hiding something. The Marquis flinches, trying to hide behind his guards like a little coward. Unimpressed, Shiheng draws his blade. The Marquis yelps. You, what are you doing? Stop. Our girl calls out, Eldest Brother, and gently places a hand on his arm, stopping him. Eldest Brother, give me the sword, she says with a newfound calm. He hands it over without hesitation. She turns with a sweet, disarming smile, and faces the pompous official. Marquise Anlei, right? She asks politely. Then with a sudden swoosh, she swings the sword, deliberately missing him by a hair. The Marquis jumps back, sputtering. You. She puts on an innocent face. I am but a weak young lady, she says, batting her eyelashes. It is natural for me to be inaccurate and miss. But then her expression turns to ice. My brother is the one who saved thousands. Should Marquise Anlei dare cause him any trouble on the way to the capital, someone will come and give the Marquis the final blow at any moment. The Marquis is floored. You dare threaten me, he shouts. Our girl's smile is pure savagery. So what if I dare? Just then, their grandmother arrives, rushing to their side. Shiheng looks at the old woman with deep affection. Take care, grandmother, he says softly. The three of them stand together, a small but unbroken family, ready to face whatever comes next. Our girl looks up at her brother, her eyes filled not with tears, but with a quiet, unshakable resolve as they prepare to walk this long road together. In the cold, snowy mountains, a decision is made that will shake the empire to its core. Our girl Wen Jiu stands before her grandmother, her voice ringing with unshakable resolve. Grandmother, I'm going to the imperial capital to help Eldest Brother. Her grandmother immediately shoots down the idea, her voice trembling with fear. What? You can't do that. She clutches Wen Jiu's arms, her eyes filled with tears, begging her to reconsider the perilous journey. But our heroine is resolute, brushing off the thousands of miles, as nothing to be afraid of. Just a few days ago, she had promised her brother. She told him he did nothing wrong, her belief in him absolute. I don't believe that there is no justice in this world, she had declared, clasping his hand, her eyes blazed with a loyalty that could move mountains. Even if there isn't, I will still fight any battle for you. Her brother, touched by her fierce devotion, could only whisper her name. It was a bond forged in childhood, and he knew her better than anyone. He told her then that it was okay to be be scared, that a lady of the Shay family never has to pretend to be strong. He handed her a small tassel, a promise and a keepsake. With a smirk, he told her he was going to the capital to demand payment for an old debt. Back in the present, Wen Jiu reminds her grandmother of the dangers they already face right here at home. The old woman shudders, admitting that without General Li's help, she would have already perished. Wen Jiu tells her grandmother to take the children and hide, but their third brother has other plans, his eyes icy as he vows that no enemy will leave the Shi manor alive again. Wen Jiu agrees they can't just be sitting ducks, but the grandmother needs a moment alone to think. Outside, third brother's sharp gaze pins our girl in place. He knows exactly what she's planning. "Are you thinking of going away by yourself?" he asks, his voice dangerously low. He declares that he will be the one to go to the capital, that the family's survival rests on their eldest brother. But our heroine is not one to be stopped. A lone carriage makes its way through the desolate snowy landscape. Inside, Wen Jiu, veiled and determined, journeys toward her destiny. Meanwhile, the escorts for her brother are having a very bad time. The Marquis and his men, all bruised and exhausted, complain bitterly about their prisoner. He forced them to travel at a breakneck pace, and they're barely hanging on. The Marquis snaps, reminding them exactly who they're dealing with: the devil who slaughtered 100,000 soldiers. On top of that, he complains they've been forced to eat vegetarian meals for 10 days straight. A soft chuckle cuts through their grumbling. It's none other than Shi himself, standing there looking like a god, and having heard every word. The Marquis, Cao Galung, confronts him, spitting that his luck will run out in the capital. But Shi just gives him a savage smirk. Might as well see who dies first. The Marquis left speechless, completely owned. See, this has been the dynamic for the entire trip. Cao Galung desperately tries to get one up on Shi, but the man seems to have eyes in the back of his head. He effortlessly dodges every single one of their pathetic schemes, leaving them in absolute chaos while he calmly munches on a bun. Back at the rest stop, the guards tell their fuming Marquis to get a grip. But then one of them points. There, in the prison carriage, sits Shi, looking bored. "Still not leaving?" he asks, the audacity dripping from his voice. His guards absolutely lose it. This man complained they were too slow, sped ahead of them, and then had the nerve to lock himself in the carriage as they approached the capital. The Marquis screams in frustration, slamming the lock into place himself. Finally, they arrive at the capital gates. The procession moves through the snowy streets, heading for the formidable council hall. Inside, the ministers are already gossiping. They discuss the traitor Xiheng's arrival, with one elder minister worrying that the emperor doesn't grasp the severity of the situation. Suddenly, a deafening boom shakes the entire hall. The ministers whirl around, startled. It's the sound of the Dengwen drum, the drum of injustice, which hasn't been struck since the emperor took the throne. And who is the one striking it? It's our girl, Wen Jiu, hammering away with all her might, her face a mask of cold fury. An old minister watches from the window, a grim realization dawning on him. The capital was doomed to chaos after all. An official storms out. Who is the one who banged the drum? He finds Wen Jiu standing alone on the steps, shivering in the snow. Minister Dai Ming offers her a way out, a chance to turn back. But she stands her ground, declaring she has no choice but to appeal to the emperor himself. The minister is stunned by her nerve. Another official, a eunuch, approaches. After confirming she is the one who struck the drum, he informs her she has been summoned by the emperor. They must go at once. As she's led up the grand staircase, the eunuch mutters a warning about the consequences of her actions. Wen Jiu's mind drifts. In her past life as a woman, she was never allowed to set foot in the council hall. But this life is different. This life is for her brother. The eunuch makes one last plea for her to stop, even offering to help her himself. But she doesn't even hesitate. She falls to her knees on the frozen stone. "My name is Wen Jiu, from the Shi manor." She holds up a wooden plank, her voice ringing with righteous power. "I am here to ask the emperor about my eldest brother, who protected 130,000 civilians." Her voice echoes through the hallowed halls. Was protecting our people the crime, or was it killing the enemies of our country? The eunuch freezes, utterly shocked by her words. Inside, the entire court, including the emperor himself, watches the scene unfold. The emperor sits on his throne, his face unreadable. He gives a single quiet order: summon him. An announcement rings out through the snowy palace courtyard. Marquis Enle is here, and more importantly, the man of the hour, Shi has arrived. Our poor girl is kneeling on the cold, hard steps, a wave of panic washing over her. He's here already. Her legs tremble uncontrollably in the biting wind. Suddenly, a firm hand grabs her arm. "Be careful," a familiar voice says. She looks at the hand steadying her. It's her eldest brother, Shi. He looks down at her with concern, calling her name, Aju. She looks up, her eyes wide with relief. "Eldest brother." He immediately pulls her to her feet, his voice gentle but firm. "Quickly, get up." He holds her steady, chiding her softly. "You are usually so smart, how can you act so foolishly?" But his expression softens. He admits it doesn't matter if the tactic is foolish, as long as it works. He reminds her how ruthless the palace is, and that their family is waiting for them to come back home. With tears welling in her eyes, our girl looks up at him with fierce loyalty. She tells him that even if thousands of people are blind to the truth, she will always have his back. "Eldest brother, you are not alone," she whispers. His stoic expression cracks. Just a little. A small warm smile plays on his lips. "Okay," he says softly. But the tender moment is shattered by a booming voice from the top of the stairs, demanding to know why they aren't kneeling before the emperor. A sour-faced eunuch glares down at them. In a hilarious chibi moment, another marquis is seen face-planting in a perfect kowtow, while our two siblings just stand there, completely unfazed. Our girl blushes, mortified. When did he get here? The eunuch, absolutely fuming, repeats his question with an angry cough. Why have you two not knelt? But Shi Heng is having none of it. He steps in front of his sister, a protective shield, and declares with icy finality. The scene cuts to the throne room, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Spears are crossed in front of Shi Heng, but he doesn't even flinch. He asks the emperor if he was summoned to be executed or sent away to beg for a hollow peace. The absolute audacity. The emperor is stunned into silence. The entire court holds its breath. One old minister can't hold his tongue, muttering, "How arrogant." The emperor finally collects himself and waves a dismissive hand. He orders the guards to stand down. The spears are lowered, and Shi Heng stands alone before the most powerful man in the kingdom. He turns to face the emperor, his gaze unwavering. The emperor demands to know why he killed the prefecture lord. Shi Heng's answer is short, brutal, and perfect. He deserved it. The emperor presses further. "What were you thinking?" And Shi Heng's face twists into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage as he spits out his true intention: annihilate his entire country and burn their bones to ashes. The court officials tremble in their boots. They whisper amongst themselves about how terrifyingly arrogant this young man is. The emperor slams his hand down. This isn't about one man's honor. It's about 100,000 lives. He demands to know if Shi Heng's actions will truly protect Dayan, or just invite more war. But Shi Heng is a fortress. He fires back, asking if they should just stand by and let their people be slaughtered. Insolent, the emperor roars, his face turning purple with rage. He continues to scream at Shi Heng. But then he clutches his chest, a sudden wave of pain contorting his features. Meanwhile, our girl waits anxiously outside the imperial study room. She overhears the ministers gossiping, their voices like poison. They all agree Shi Heng must die for what he's done. The kind eunuch with her sighs, whispering that if Dayan wasn't so corrupt to begin with, none of this would be happening. The doors swing open, and the ministers file out, their faces grim. Eunuch Wang warns them to watch their step on the slippery road. Our heroine watches them go, her heart sinking with every step they take. The eunuch gently gestures for her to go inside. It's her turn. Inside, the emperor sits alone at his desk, the weight of the world on his shoulders. The eunuch announces her presence. She gives a perfect bow, but the emperor cuts right to the chase. "Give me one good reason," he demands, "why I shouldn't kill Shi Heng." But our girl is not here to play games. She rises, her eyes blazing, and argues that after Dajin slaughtered 13,000 of their people, seeking justice is not a crime. The emperor shoots back, questioning why he took control of the army without permission. Her face is pure fire. "Did you want him to die for the new year?" She snaps back, the disrespect dripping from her words. She declares that her brother is a hero who did what any citizen would do. "Anyone else can die," she proclaims, "but he must live." The emperor explodes, pointing a trembling finger at her. Insolent, but as he rages, our heroine's mind flashes back to her past life. She recalls that around this time the emperor was supposed to be very ill. A horrifying realization dawns on her. Her quest to save her brother might be inadvertently destroying everything else. The emperor continues to cough violently, his anger forgotten in a fit of weakness. He glares at her, his breath ragged. But her resolve is set in stone. In her mind, she makes a vow she is willing to die, as long as Exaheng lives to protect their country. She stands before the emperor, ready to face whatever comes next. "Alright, let's get this show on the road." Our girl makes a deep, respectful bow before the emperor. His Majesty and his attendant just stare, completely silent. Wen Jiu tries to keep her cool, reminding herself that villains tend to live long lives, and this demon king is no exception. Just as the tension is about to snap, the attendant calls out to her. He announces that someone will escort her out of the palace. Our girl is stunned, trying to protest, but a lady-in-waiting is already leading her away. As she's guided out, the emperor just turns his back, lost in thought. He lets out a small cough, his gaze distant. "She really resembles her," he murmurs, covering his mouth. The king's emperor turns to his old servant. "Do you still remember how long ago she left us?" But the attendant plays dumb, claiming his old memory is failing him. The emperor just calls him a sly old fox. He reminisces about a woman sent for a political marriage who was around Wen Jiu's age. The attendant knows exactly who he means, the one person the emperor still carries in his heart. Meanwhile, our heroine is being led out into the snow. And who does she run into but the crown prince himself, Zhao Feng. She quickly offers her greetings, but he's not alone. Another prince pops up, and the two immediately start bickering over her. The second prince calls out the crown prince for being a total hypocrite, pointing out he was the one who wanted Shi Heng dead in the first place. The royal family drama is so exhausting. Our poor girl starts to feel dizzy from all the royal bickering. She just stands there, completely over it as the two princes continue their petty squabble. Suddenly, she spots a new figure approaching. It's the old Duke of Commandery. She remembers him from her past life, a respected figure who had a connection to Shi Heng. The dizziness hits her hard, and she stumbles, dropping a small jade tablet. The princes and the Duke rush to her side, asking if she's alright. The crown prince offers to let her rest at his place, but the other prince immediately swoops in, offering to take her home himself. They are both just using her to get to Shi Heng. She politely declines their offers, stating she's still in mourning. But then the old duke steps in, smooth as ever. "I overheard the princes offering a ride," he says. "How about this old man gives her a lift?" He calmly shuts them both down, advising them not to bother a young lady during her mourning period. Left with no other choice, she accepts the duke's offer. Once they're in a private room, the duke's friendly demeanor vanishes. "Who exactly are you?" he asks, his eyes sharp. He holds up the jade tablet she dropped. This belonged to Shi Heng. He scolds her for being so sneaky and careless, telling her not to just throw it around. He explains that while the two princes are clueless, the one above them will know exactly what this jade piece means. Our girl realizes this old man knows everything. The duke offers her a place to stay for a few days, but admits he can't directly help with Exaheng's case. So Wen Jiu makes a bold request. arrest, she wants to visit Shihang in the Supreme Court jail. The Duke is shocked by her audacity, but she explains she's worried about his well-being among the scoundrels in the prison. The thought of her stoic general having to deal with them is just too much, and we get a glimpse of our poor general wounded and alone in his cell. Later she stands outside a building, listening to a play being performed. The Duke finds her, mentioning he heard she was heading to the Imperial Court of Justice. She explains the play is about a general who was betrayed. The Duke smiles, suggesting they walk together while he tells her about the show. They walk through the snow-covered grounds. He explains the play is about a young general who protected his country, only to be killed by a wicked court official, leading to the dynasty's downfall. The king's heirs wondered how the tower precisely built. Doesn't this story seem a little coincidental? She asks, her eyes wide. She asks when the play was released. His answer is chilling. 10 days ago. The public is already siding with the young general, lamenting how a hero is being punished while the lazy princes do nothing. The Duke gets serious. When an emperor is angry, corpses litter for miles, he says. What do you think would happen when thousands of common folk are angry? He notes that an uprising could be on the horizon. She realizes with horror that Shiheng has been masterfully turning public opinion in his favor for days. The Duke asks if she's still going, and she gives a firm yes. He notes her determination in her thin clothes, then takes off his own thick coat. He tells her to go, as this will likely be the last time they meet until this is all resolved. He drapes the heavy cloak over her shoulders, thanks him, and heads off. Clutching the warm cloak, she makes her way to the prison. Her attendant bribes the guard, and just like that they're in. They walk down the dark, torch-lit corridor. The guard points to a cell. This is it, be quick. And through the bars she sees him. Shiheng, sitting on the cold floor, his white robes stained with blood. Here we go, folks. Buckle up for a heart-wrenching, chaotic ride. In the depths of a cold, dark prison, our boy Shiheng sits wounded and alone. He opens his eyes, an icy calm in his voice. Here again, do you have a death wish? And who should appear but our girl, Jiu, looking like a winter princess in her beautiful cloak. He's completely stunned. Why is she here? She sees the blood staining his pristine white robes and her heart lurches. Was he tortured? Without a second thought, she sits right down beside him, not caring that the grime and blood are ruining her clothes. She calls out his name, a worried tremor in her voice. But he just brushes it off, cool as ever. This isn't my blood. He even has the audacity to praise her for getting in, telling her not to worry. Oh, that is the wrong thing to say. Our girl shoots to her feet, visibly fuming. He asks how she even got in here. He's thinking this is the court of justice, not a playground. She snaps back, when there's a will, there's a way. He then asks when she's leaving. She replies coolly, when the time is right, assuring him it won't be far from now. In fact, she says it will be within a few days. She can't believe this man. He's usually so brilliant, but this time he literally gambled his own life away. He just looks at her saying her name softly, but she's not having it. The glare she gives him could freeze fire. He's completely bewildered by her anger. He tries to reason with her, saying the capital is dangerous for a girl like her. He even reminds her of his promise to always protect her, that our girl is on a roll. She retorts that she's not worried about him, she's worried about her grandmother. Who wants to worry about you? She snaps. He just smiles, that little smirk telling us he sees right through her tough act. She clutches the bundle of clean clothes she brought for him, her anger bubbling over. He can tell she's furious. Since you're so comfortable here, she declares, I shall excuse myself. And with that she yeets the clothes right at his head. She is absolutely livid. She was worried sick, running around like a headless chicken for him. And it turns out he had a well-thought-out plan all along. He doesn't even value his own life. He calls her name, trying to stop her. And then in a swift move, he grabs her arm and yanks her back. She stumbles right into his arms. He holds her close, whispering, be good, Jiu. This is my first time doing such a thing. Her brain short-circuits. Is he trying to coax her like a 3-year-old? He then has the nerve to tell her she's too skinny. That's it. She's had enough. She rears back and headbutts him right in the face. He recoils, clutching his head in pain. Finally, he apologizes, begging her not to be angry anymore. But she's done. Since you don't need anyone to worry about you, I'm leaving. She tries to pull away, but he grabs her wrist, refusing to let go. He pulls her close again, his lips near her ear. He whispers urgently. Someone's coming. He quickly shoves her behind the cot, telling her to stay hidden and quiet. A new voice echoes in the cell, offering to break Shiheng out on one condition. Hiding in the shadows, our girl immediately recognizes that voice. It's the prince, Ji, and there he is, swaggering into the cell like he owns the place. He makes his offer, pledge loyalty to him, and he'll save Shiheng's entire clan from execution. He condescendingly calls ex-Henenshing young and ignorant, acting like he's doing him a massive favor. But Shiheng just gives him a dead-eyed stare, completely unfazed. The prince is shook. He can't believe the lack of reaction. He tries a new tactic, appealing to Shiheng's ambition for power. He waits for a response, confident in his offer, but gets nothing but silence. Meanwhile, our poor girl is getting a cramp from hiding under the bed. Shiheng finally speaks, but not about the deal. Instead, he casually describes the disgusting prison, talking about snakes, bugs, and a giant rat that was just standing where the prince is now. What a savage! The prince visibly flinches, clutching his pristine robes in disgust. But he makes a grand gesture, offering to make Shiheng famous and unify the lands. What others cannot give you, I can, he boasts. But Shiheng shuts him down cold. Unfortunately, I have never wished to make a name for myself. The prince's face turns purple with rage. Shiheng, you only have one chance. Shiheng simply replies, do as you please. The absolute nerve. The prince trembles with fury. Just then, a guard outside warns the prince that someone is approaching. The prince storms off, telling Shiheng to think about it. As his footsteps fade, our girl peeks out, relieved he's gone. She knows this is bad. Prince Zhaoji is a violent man who hates being disrespected. Shiheng just signed his own death warrant. She has to warn him. She starts to crawl out, but Shiheng stops her. There are still people staying in there, he says quietly. Another visitor? A well-dressed man enters, apologizing for the crude and freezing conditions of the— Our girl cannot believe this. This is a prison, and yet it is this lively. When will she get out of here? This newcomer has brought a whole feast. He sits down and asks Shiheng for his conditions. The man pours a drink, and they share a quiet cup. Then Shiheng makes his move. I do have a request, he says. His sole wish? For His Highness to help him achieve death, quicker. The visitor is absolutely floored. His face is a perfect picture of WHAT. His attendant practically has to drag him out of the cell, whispering for them to leave quickly. Our girl is just as confused as everyone else. What is with all these people coming and going? And it's not over. A third group storms the cell. This time, it's a bunch of masked men with swords. They claim to be here to rescue him in the name of justice and the old emperor. One of them urges him to hurry before the guards find them. The leader insists, follow us out quickly. But Shiheng calmly refuses. Thank you for your good intentions, he says. But I don't intend to run away. The men are aghast. They tell him he'll die if he stays. Shiheng's expression turns dangerously cold. The leader gets emotional, revealing he used to work for the Duke of Heng's family and that they were wrongfully killed. He begs him to escape, but something feels wrong. Our girl, still hiding, realizes this is a trap. She has to warn him. She starts to crawl out from under the bed. Weikuen looks the leader in the eye. It looks like you won't be able to save me, and in one lightning-fast movement, he snatches the man's sword. He presses the blade against the man's throat as the other rescuers draw their own weapons. The leader is terrified. Wing Hung, what are you doing? Yiheng's eyes are glowing with menace. It seems like you all intend to let me die here. And with a sickening slice, he stands there, a grim angel of death, having turned the tables on his would-be assassins. Alright, hit that subscribe button and let's dive right in. After the chaos dies down, our girl is still trembling under the bed, the stench of blood thick in the air. Onyx Shiheng kneels down, his voice soft, telling her everything is all right now. But as she crawls out, she sees the carnage bodies of assassins littering the floor around them. She looks at him, covered in blood, and a horrifying thought dawns on her. This isn't the first time this has happened, is it? He tries to play it cool, claiming an average assassin couldn't get in, but she's not buying it. No need, she says, her voice trembling slightly. Her heart was about to beat out of her chest, and he's acting like this is just another Tuesday. He quickly pulls his hand back, caught off guard by her directness. Our little nugget is worried sick, but he just gives her a gentle smile and tells her to go back. But she's not having it. She follows him all the way to a dark prison cell. The guards shove him inside, and he just sighs, thinking he really shouldn't have worn white. He looks at his hand, remembering how pale our heroine was, and yet she still had the fire in her to be angry with him. A small smile plays on his lips as he sits alone in the cold. A few days later, the capital is blanketed in snow and eerily quiet. Our girl walks through the desolate streets, overhearing whispers. A witness has arrived, and the gossip is spreading like wildfire. They're all talking about Master C's case and a great betrayal. Suddenly, a man announces that the trial is starting right now. The crowd rushes off, eager for justice, or just a good show. Standing alone in the snow, our heroine's expression hardens. It's time. Inside the packed courthouse, under a banner promising impartial justice, she stands among the onlookers, her eyes fixed on the proceedings. The judge addresses a group of kneeling witnesses, demanding to see their evidence. A woman immediately pipes up, accusing the former lord of not only surrendering, but gifting the enemy ships full of gold and treasure. We saw it with our own eyes, she cries. The crowd erupts, demanding executions. The judge slams his hand down, shouting for order. As the witnesses kneel silently, our girl scoffs. This isn't justice, it's just a witch hunt with no real proof. Then, in a shocking twist, a guard shoves the testifying woman forward, declaring she's the wife of the accused lord and an accomplice. Our heroine is completely stunned. The woman immediately starts bawling, playing the part of a weak, pitiful victim, but our girl just clenches her fist, not falling for the act. Suddenly, a hand grabs her shoulder from behind. She's violently yanked away from the crowd, shouting for her attacker to let her go. A cold blade presses against her throat. She freezes. It's her third brother, Wen Jiu. He has her pinned against a wall, his eyes cold and dangerous. Pulls the dagger away, putting on a fake smile. Sorry, he says. Been a bit jumpy lately. While sneakily hiding the weapon behind his back, he offers her the dagger for defense, claiming the capital is dangerous. He then asks if the witnesses are the ones he brought to the capital, telling her she doesn't need to go be a witness herself. He gives her a sharp glare, then snatches the dagger right back, leaving her fuming. Oh, she sees what's happening. Shiheng was trying to protect her from this mess, and now her own brother is trying to use her. Not today, bro. She's not taking the fall for this.